This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. On the show today, you'll find out where book publishing is going and how to take advantage of it. How to identify and avoid publishing predators. What opportunities are emerging as the book trade evolves in new forms. How to avoid losing money and much, much more. Join us now as a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take the author to the next level of publishing. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by Author You and the Book Shepherd. And now, here's your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Well, we are so deep in the heart of autumn now. I was back east for a week actually, enjoying their colors, but I have to tell everyone, in Colorado, ours surpassed them. I was amazed with what came back, and I came back a week ago, and literally my 5 maples that surround my property were in a glory of red, plus all the other colors. And that really ties into what our topic is today, because one of the things that brings glory to authors is getting book reviews. And even sometimes when a review is a little chunky, maybe you wouldn't want to see it out there. If you read it correctly, you might find the one line that you can turn into a blurb that could make it stellar and support you. I had a friend do that, Susan Rowan. Her book was How to Work a Room, went on to sell 1 million, that's with an M, 1 million copies via bookstores. The Wall Street Journal creamed it, blasted in 2 columns, ripped it apart. And the author, and I was the godmother to the book, and as I'm going through it, and I said, Suze, I'm going to find a line in here. Trust me, I will find a line. And by God, we did. And we pulled it out, and then we just put Wall Street Journal underneath it. Didn't matter. Sometimes crummy views can work in your favor. So I don't want you to worry about that. But here we have with us for our hour an expert, someone who I've admired for years and years and years. Patti Thorn is a 28-year veteran and writer at the Rocky Mountain News before it closed its doors in 2009. And I have to tell, I still miss the paper. It was the decent paper in Colorado. She served 12 years of her tenure as chief book critic and editor of the book review pages. And that section went on to earn really national acclaim for its incisive and timely reviews, as well as her fun weekly column about books and the publishing industry in general. She's a 3-time recipient of first place awards for arts and entertainment criticism from the Colorado Society of Professional Journalists, and she is an author. She's the author of Fun Places to Go with Children in Colorado, which was published by Chronicle Books. It's enjoyed 2 printings, had over 20,000 copies sold. She's also served as an independent editor for both fiction and nonfiction, and her alma mater is the Northwestern University's prestigious Medville School of Journalism. So with that, Patti, welcome to Author You, your guide to book publishing.
Hi, Judith. Thank you. Thank you for that nice introduction. I appreciate it.
Hey, when was your book published about kids?
It's been a long time. It was published in 1997, and I can't remember if that was the 2nd edition or the 1st edition, to be honest. So it's been quite a while.
Well, here is my Book Shepherd side. Have you thought about doing a revamp of it?
Pardon, I can't hear you.
Have you thought about doing a revamp of it?
Yes, my partner, my co-author, Marty Midas, and I have talked about that quite often, but, at the time we had young kids, and so we took them everywhere we went to see which places were actually fun for children. So now that our kids are grown, it's a little bit, it'd be a little bit different. But yeah, we talk about it from time to time. It was a lot of work, and as you can imagine, we went all over the state, so it would be quite an undertaking. We'd probably have to pretty much redo all of the research at this point. So I don't know if it's likely to happen, but it is a good idea.
I would really encourage you. This is the old repurposing. My advice: look at what you've got old. What can you take? What you can pull out? I mean, there's so many different things. That book is what, 20 years old.
Yeah, it's,
And
that's what
you,
makes it hard to repurpose because you can't really do much in the way of repurpose. You pretty much have to redo the entire book, I think, at this point. Not maybe not all of it, but a lot of it, 80% or so. Anyway.
well, you can. I mean, I would just, we should, off the show, we should talk about that because I have some ideas.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the title. Here I have this tea coming up in a couple of days that 100 people show up at, and it showcases authors and their books. These kind of books would go like crazy, sell like crazy at this event. All right, we'll switch gears. Enough about you, Patti. But let's talk
Oh,
about
darn.
oh,
Was
darn.
having fun.
Let's talk about Blue Ink Reviews. And
Okay.
Patti and her partner, Patty Moosberger, who is also a literary agent, created this wonderful entity called Blue Ink Reviews. And they really were directing it toward the self-published independent market, not the New York traditionally published market. And that, in my opinion, there's really only two places that I would encourage authors to go to if they were going to consider a per a paid. If you have to, Patty's not free, and that to get a paid for review that is going to be unbiased. I mean, just because you pay, I think people need to understand that, don't you, Patty? That just because you pay for a review doesn't mean it's going to be gold stars all the way.
Right. Yeah, people really do need to understand that. We are determined and dedicated to giving honest reviews, fair but honest. And we try to maintain a very respectful tone, but we tell it like we see it. And so we have reviews of all kinds, very positive, very negative, so in between. And anybody who's interested in possibly getting a review can go to our website and look at, literally thousands of reviews we have up there. So, yeah, I think initially people thought, oh, paid reviews, they're all going to, people are paying to have great reviews. But that I think the jury's out on that now, and people understand that there are legitimate companies that are doing honest work, and the reason that we are paid is that's pretty much the only way to fund a project like this, and still, this is our job, so
Right.
we are dedicated to it, and it's very hard to fund a review service for independently published books because, the books themselves are mostly of interest to a wide audience only if they're good. So how do you screen a bunch of books that are large portion that are not going to be good? And that's why these paid reviews kind of evolved.
And the thing is, there is an evolution. So the people who still have their nose in the air about a lot of them are what I call the book snobs, um,
Right.
and they just need to get over it. It's like you have seen the evolution of self publishing,
Yeah.
and you've been in the heart of it, Patty. I mean, you and I have had encounters in the columns
Right. Yes.
together.
Indeed.
Yeah, and here we are still talking, and Patty, and I'll just for everyone, Patty wrote a column. Actually, it was quite a good column, but she said, "Please, Santa, don't send me any more self-published books or something like that." And then I got up on my soapbox, and the reality is some major books have come out from the self-published market, and New York has come in and picked them up. But what has happened since that column was written over 10 years ago, I guess, Patty, it has to be at this time.
Oh gosh, at least.
Yeah, that the
And the premise is still the same, really, Judith,
absolutely.
in that people who work for mainstream press don't have time to screen independently published books. There's just no way to do it. I can go into detail about that, but that was kind of the genesis of that mention in that column is to
Listen,
get overwhelmed.
Patty, listen, most of it's crap. I would say 90% of books. Everyone knows me. I'm blunt. 90% of books that come out, even from I've seen from mainstream publishers, probably should have had another thought about it. And what's happened in the self-publishing arena is that everyone can embrace the RTP factor, which is rush to publish, and they shouldn't be doing it. They still need to be edited. They still need to be out. And I think what's exciting that certainly the books that I get my fingers on, that what we've done with interiors for our books to perk them up, to make them shine, to stand them out, to truly customize them for both the reader and the author, have way ahead. And there was just a really interesting article from the New York publishers finally saying, maybe we need to gussy up our interiors. This line after line after line after line after text maybe isn't working. And the independent market has been so ahead of that. And I'm really proud to be part of that in there. But let's talk about reviews and Blue Ink Review. I know we have just a couple minutes to our first break, but let's tell them what Blue Ink is, first of all. And let's get into some of the criteria of it. And then when we come back from the break, I think let's get into why reviews are important. How's that sound?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so Blue Ink, who are you?
So Blue Ink Review, we were founded in 2010, and the idea was that, when I was book review editor, I tell this all the time, but I did get calls a lot at the newspaper from self-published authors asking if I would review their book, and I always said, no, we just don't have the resources to do that. And as you always pointed out, well, there are a lot of gems in there, but I and most other people in mainstream press just don't have time or resources. My budget was ridicumentally low at that time.
And what you were, we're going to need to take a break here, so we'll come back to that.
Sure.
But
Okay.
I remember, but in the old Colorado Independent days, people would say, if you send me another book by this publishing company or this author, I will never talk to you again, because some of them are so bad. And with that, it's Author You, your guide to book publishing. With me is Patti Thorn, the managing partner for Blue Ink Review.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Is there a book in you or another? Author You will show you how to create, develop, and publish your book without being hoodwinked. If you already have a book out, you'll find a supportive and brainstorming community that's connected and creative no matter where you live. Author U brings in national experts for its book camps and annual author extravaganza held each May. It has regular meetings and delivers webinars for its members on timely topics. Through Author U's extensive network, members enjoy exclusive benefits, including significant discounts for a variety of services necessary to publishing. The Resource, its online book publishing news magazine, is content-heavy and it's free. If you want to create a book that has pizzazz, punch, and panache, Author U is for you. If you're a hobbyist or a casual author, it's not. Join Author U today through its website at authoru.org. Follow Author U on Twitter at Author U and on Facebook at Author U, where timely author and publishing tips and articles are posted daily. Author U, where the author goes to become seriously successful.
First impressions are everything in the world of book publishing. Whether your book is an ebook, a print version, or both, your book cover needs to pop, sizzle, and sparkle to immediately capture the attention of your audience. And your book's interior needs to be just as dynamic and reflect the professionalism your readers demand. Nick Sellinger of NZ Graphics has won numerous national and international book awards for his cover designs and interior layouts. With over 20 years of experience in graphic design, he knows what it takes to create award-winning books and the many promotional pieces that authors need, such as posters, banners, postcards, one-sheets, business cards, logos, and more. Visit ncgraphics.com and see what authors and publishers have to say about their award-winning books and how NZ Graphics can make your book the success it was meant to be. That's nzgraphics.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All righty, we're talking with the fabulous Patti Thorn, the managing partner for Blue Ink Reviews, and we're talking about really what's Blue Ink first, why book reviews are important. Then we're going to get into some other questions. So, Patti, let me throw it back to you. Tell us more about Blue Ink. You started about 10 years ago, roughly?
Yeah, sorry to be so long-winded. So anyway, we were founded basically with the idea that this would be a way for self-publishing authors to actually get reviews. So, there was something else I was going to say. Anyway, so people pay a fee, and then we have about 100 plus critics across the country, and we choose the critic we feel would be most suited to the particular subject matter or genre of the book. They review the book. It's about 300-word review. We try to keep the reviews pretty short because industry people who might be interested in reading them, or even readers, don't really have time to read long reviews. So anyway, we put out the reviews, and then the author can decide. We have different places where the reviews will be seen, and there's kind of a two-tiered process with that. All the reviews go to certain places, and then select reviews go to other places. So if an author does not like the review and doesn't want it to go anywhere, we agree that they can opt out of having their review published anywhere. That's one concession we do make to authors because, our purpose is not really to make anyone feel uncomfortable or humiliated in any way. So that's an out that people have. And at the time we were founded, there were a couple other places that were doing these paid reviews. They were mostly companies that also did reviews of traditionally published books, and so their arm that did the independent books was really kind of buried in their websites and in their minds, and we thought, well, we're going to celebrate self-published books, and so we're totally dedicated to just doing self-published books. So that's kind of who we are.
And how many books do you I guess, do you know how many you've done lifetime? And what do you average a month? And then I guess the other part, when you said you have over 100 people who are involved in that, do they get paid for their reviews?
Oh, yes. They get paid, and yeah, they're professionals, and we do pay them. And sorry, I forgot the other part of your question.
No, but I just want to add on that. That's why you all need to understand this is not a freebie thing. That it's time, it's energy, and we all of us. And I think one of the challenges, Patti, that a lot of authors have, because they have their writing cap on, and they think that, well, because I'm not getting paid to do my writing per se, so why should you be paid? And I want you all to get over that. Please get over that. Because
right. There have been blogs and there might still be some that do say they'll review self-published books, but I think in the end, most of the people that do those kind of blogs just get overwhelmed with submissions, and like you said, so many of the books are substandard that people just get burnt out, and so, yeah, people deserve to be paid for it. It's work.
Exactly. So I'm a big proponent of paying. I'm paying people for what their services are. So,
right.
Get over that. Everyone, please get over it. All right. So why reviews? Okay. So Blue Ink is there, and I said actually at the opening hour, there's really only two that I really would consider doing the paid for. Blue Ink would be one, and the other one would be Forward, because of their mark in the independent market. And in fact, you guys had the two of you did a combo offer, where there was a really lovely discount offering if you did one, and I thought that was a runaway, just a really terrific offer.
Yeah, and that's still in place. So it's an ongoing offer that we have that for people who want to get more than one review, they could pay a discounted price and get one from Forward and one from us, and they're both expedited within 6 weeks. So that's been a really a very popular offering for us.
That is a terrific. And you know what, Patti, if you will do a write-up and send that over to me, I'll shoot that out in a blog.
Yeah, I sure will.
To my 11,000 people. How's that sound?
Right, that sounds really good. We will do that. So you had asked, I think, Judith, why reviews are important. And I would just say that, first of all, we live in a world today where people can look at reviews for everything, including restaurants, hotels, even the shoes you want to buy. People are expecting to know in advance what their experience might be like. And with books, it's even more important because, a book takes a long time to read. People don't want to invest their time unless they have some indication that it's going to be worthwhile. It's really hard to dive into an unknown book and, sort of make that commitment. So I think reviews are important for that. They give people a sense of what they're getting into and what the style of the author might be like, what the subject might be like, and also, I would say not just any review is important, but, reviews like the ones we do where it's unbiased kind of reviews, I think those are super important because, everybody's like, well, my family and friends just love the book. Well, nobody cares if your family and friends love the book. People lie, and they don't want to alienate their family and friends. So I think people are, savvy to that at this point. And so, reviews really just tell people, well, an unbiased third-party person really loved the book or whatever they felt about it, and it's very important. And, a good review, a well-written review can get the word out in just such a lovely way. And then also, if you choose the right review, place to get a review, it can be a ticket to larger exposure, which, I can explain that as well. But I'd say those are the main reasons why people should think about getting a review. And the other thing is that reviews are really important for your marketing materials, particularly if you're a self-publishing author. Reviews can be used on your social media. So you go on Facebook and you might announce that you have a book out there on Facebook. Well, how do you keep that book in front of your friends and followers when you get reviews? That's just another way to say, hey, look, I just got a great review for my book. And, you can put the review on your website. You can put an excerpt on your book jacket. You can use it on press releases or bookmarks, or, if you're going to put out a little postcard about a book signing, you use a good line from the review on that. You can use it to get more reviews. People, it's just the same principle. People don't want to read books that they don't know if they're good. So even reviewers are like that. So if you have a good review and then you kind of do it, roll it into, you're going to put it on your press release, you're going to ask the next reviewer if they would be interested in your book, and the great line from your review is going to be on that press release, and it's going to attract their attention, and you're more likely to be able to solicit reviews with good reviews behind you. You can use reviews on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, obviously. So there's just a lot of things you can do. It's Yeah, I'd say it's one of your key marketing tools. Wouldn't you agree with that, Judith?
Yeah, I do think it's well, number one, that if you mentioned the Amazon word, that since Amazon sells 70% of all print books in the United States, and I'm going to reinforce data has come out again in the past week that print is still the king for selling books.
Yeah.
And that's a hooray for me, because I'm a print girl. But it doesn't mean that I don't do ebooks, and it doesn't mean I don't do audiobooks. But I'm a print girl. That's how when I was on a writing retreat, and I took Dan Brown's new book with me, that the hard book, because I loved reading it. I mean, I like holding it, I like touching it, I like smelling it. That's me. But I did that. But let me come back to what's essential about something like a book review that comes from a Blue Ink or a forward or something like that. You can go into your Amazon page as the author and post that as a side review, that when it comes up on your page, your book page, it'll show at the tippy top. Versus if it is a customer review, it's going to be buried down in the customer reviews. So it's a way to stage it, set it apart, and you cite the source, you Blue Ink review, or where it comes from. But understand, and that is critical for marketing, and that's where people pay attention to it. And if you are wanting to go to the library market, you need reviews. And you need reviews by individuals and or groups like Blue Ink that are respected for that unbiased review that Patti was referring to. Would you want to add to that a little bit, Patti?
Yeah. Well, so librarians and any kind of industry professionals, they aren't going to pay any attention to customer reviews, because they know, just as everybody else knows, that a lot of times it's just your friends and your family that are writing those reviews, and they want to know that a professional critic has given it a thorough assessment. Yeah. So I guess I should say that our reviewers...
Patti, hold that thought. We're going to take another break here, but let's come back to see what your reviewers really assess and look at. It's all through you. I do book publishing. Patti Thorn with Blue Ink Review is with me today.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Want to publish like a pro today? Well, then take a look at Ingram Spark, the only publishing platform that offers print and ebook services through a single source. Upload, edit, and manage titles all in one place. Take more control of printing costs with print on demand, and reach even more readers through one of the world's most extensive distribution networks. Built by independent publishers for independent publishers, Ingram Spark has everything you need to maximize your book's potential: color printing, ebook distribution, print on demand, global reach, and more. Start publishing with Ingram Spark today and see just how far your titles will go tomorrow. That's ingramspark.com.
Many of us have dreamed of writing a book.
Some of us even have.
Then the hard work starts.
You'll need an editor.
Who will design the cover or typeset the pages?
Who will format the ebook?
If you're a business owner, consultant, or coach with a serious message and expertise to share, the team of experts at 1106 Design can guide you through the maze.
They've helped more than 1,000 authors create top-quality books and avoid the not-so-reputable self-publishing companies.
Learn more at 1106design.com.
Then call Michelle at 602-866-3226. 1106 Design.
When Ned Thompson and Harry Shore started Thompson Shore in 1972, they believed employees with great character would make up the best company. They were right. They hired people who were not only experts in bookmaking, but who were obsessed with quality and delivering exceptional customer service. Almost 40 years later, Thompson Shore remains a 100% employee-owned company. Ned and Harry knew that successful customer projects are a direct result of empowered employees. We specialize in all books for large and small publishers. Creating beautiful and well-made books, we're dedicated to pleasing our customers by making the experience a good one from start to finish. The personal touch we have with our customers allows us to be innovative in solving their most difficult challenges. Our platform also ensures that we can remain flexible to meet our customers' unique needs and expectations. Our marketing kit can create buzz for your title, enhancing the promotion of your book during infancy. When you need to test the market to gauge your future sales, we can provide digitally printed books that will transition seamlessly into a larger offset run. From ebook to hard copy to delivery, our skillful customer service teams are at the ready to answer your most pressing question. At Thompson Shore, we know that making the highest quality books requires more than just best technologies. It requires superior customer service, professionalism to the trade, and commitment to environmental and social values. With these standards of excellence in place, you can be sure that we will always help you put your best book forward.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Coming up, you'll hear more about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Alrighty, reviews. Book reviews. Do you need them? Yep, you do. Where you get them from is another option. Should you pay for them? Maybe. So with us we have Patti Thorn, who is managing partner. And she is, their service is a paid-for service. It's one that I highly recommend. And Patti, do you want to talk about some of the costs here?
Sure. So our costs are $3.95 and $4.95 for just a regular review. $3.95 would be a review that's turned around in 7 to 9 weeks. Usually we're a little faster than that, though. And then the $4.95 would be one that the author wants quickly, and we usually do those within 4 to 5 weeks. And, you know, we have some discounts available. People can get discounts through AuthorU, for example. So I would encourage people to ask Judith for the code.
Oh, yes. I'm a gateway.
So yeah, those are our costs. Oh, and then the Blue Ink Forward package is $6.95, which gives people a substantial discount on both Blue Ink and Forward.
And I just to give a shout out for Forward, they do their IndieFab Awards, which are open right now, which are highly respected, highly respected. And I know I was on several of my clients have actually won their best book. I know my book on author platforms, AuthorU, Creating and Building the Author and Book Platforms, was took the silver medal for Book of the Year in the publishing writing area a couple of years ago. So I was really honored with that. Yeah, and it was nice. So those are the two that are going to go on my recommended pay list. So that Blue Ink Review and Forward. But with that, Patti, we were talking about you've got 100 people that you invested, you vetted these people.
So I just want to make the point that our reviewers are not like, you know, my best friend, my neighbor, you know, whatever. These are people who are, you know, really truly professionals. So we have journalists, a lot of journalists, people who've written for, you know, mainstream press, New York Times, Chicago Tribune, Washington Post. We have authors who've, you know, traditionally published as well as self-published. We have very prominent editors from New York publishing houses. These are people who understand what makes a book good. They understand the genre, For example, if you've written a science fiction book, we have people that are just pretty much experts in the field, and they have read hundreds of science fiction books, so they know what works and what doesn't, and they can. The other thing that I think is not talked about very much, but is really important with these reviewers, and we vet them for this as well, is can they write effectively about their feelings about a book? Like if you go on Amazon and you look at the consumer reviews, a lot of times people say stuff like, well, it just didn't hit me right, or I just didn't like it. Well, the hard thing about writing a review is articulating why. And that's really important to authors. They want to know why did the reviewer react the way they did. And I work really hard to vet these people to make sure that they are capable of saying why, and it's really hard. And also, some people are not very good at summarizing in a small amount of space, what the book is all about. That's not so easy either. So anyway, so our reviewers are all vetted, and if they don't come up to snuff, we just don't use them.
Well, I think that your statement about being able to summarize something in a short period of time, and you referred to that you have several journalists involved. One thing that I learned as a columnist with business journals for 10 years is there is great beauty in a one-sentence paragraph. Great beauty.
Yeah, it's very hard to say things succinctly. Journalists are particularly trained in that, So that's one of the reasons we use journalists. Oh, and the other thing I should have mentioned is we also use, sometimes, we look for experts in a certain field. So, if the book is highly specialized, we will find a person who's sort of an expert in that field. So again, we're just looking for people who are knowledgeable about whatever book it is that we've received.
And when they're reviewing the books, are they reviewing the hard copy, the physical copy? Are they reviewing a PDF? Or what do you do?
Well, we do both, Judith. A lot of reviewers just prefer the hard copy. It's a lot easier when you're reviewing to mark pages and underline things and, flip back through the pages to find places where you felt were particularly of interest. But we do, more and more people have Kindles and ebook readers, and so we do see more and more people reading on PDF, but I would still say maybe the first preference of reviewers would be to have a hard copy.
Yeah, I know it's mine. I mean, I want the physical copy, and even if a book hasn't come out yet, and I'm doing it, they'll say, send me. I said, no, you're going to print it out and you're going to mail it to me. I'm not going to spend the time, the money, printing it out on my paper and ink and all that. If you want me to do this and put my time into it, this is how you deliver it. And, Patty, I had a situation where, because I was a judge for the Colorado Book Awards, and they decided to do everything on and I just said, I'm not going to, you want us to create the books of the year by just looking at an format? There's no way. I want to see if there's color, I want to see the color, I want to look at the cover of the book, I want to feel the quality of the book, and I wasn't invited.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, they just said everyone, and they said, well, this is the way the authors want it. And I said, you can't, it goes back to your viewers. I think it should be the reviewer or a judge what their option is, not your option. It's you got to, if you're asking them to donate their time or however it's being done, it was nutso. So, crazy. So, Patti, let's go back to when you get to review. Okay, you've got a review. There's some nuggets in it. What am I going to do with it?
Well, like we talked about. Okay, so you look at the review. If it's negative, I guess what I advise people to do is take a deep breath, put
Yes.
it aside for a while, and then come back to it after you've had a chance to kind of absorb the blow. And I think there's a lot that people can learn from negative reviews, but they have to be of the mindset, And a lot of people are just like, well, I showed it to everyone I know, and they all loved it, and so this person is off base. That's the exact wrong approach to take when you get negative feedback on a review, because obviously your friends and family, like I said before, and I have numerous examples of how this is true, they just aren't very honest most of the time. People don't want to be mean to their family and friends. It's really hard. And there have been friendships that have broken up with people saying, this book needs work, So anyway, if the review is negative, give yourself some time and go back to it. And we've had a lot of authors who've emailed us and said, thank you. The review wasn't very positive, but I used it to improve my next book. I used it to improve this book. And, I really appreciated the feedback, and that's the best way to go about with that. But anyway, so if you get a positive review or a mixed review, you're going to want to look for the best lines in the review. And usually there's lines that are more engaging than others, and you want to look for the ones that are kind of lively and have really great adjectives and things like that. And you can always use ellipses to link ideas so that you don't include the boring parts of the review. But like I said, I think the review itself, you should think of using it in every way possible. Social media, obviously, it's always hard to get your book in front of people on social media, because once you announce the book, what do you do after that? I think reviews are a really good way to reintroduce your book to your social media people. You can put on Twitter, I just got this great review from Blue Ink. Check it out. And that's just another way to kind of get your book in front of people. And not only that, but to tell them that it's a good book. Author website, I think the more reviews you have on your author website, the more credibility you give your book. I think we've all seen the paperback.
Right. Oh, yeah, let's hold that. We'll come back to that. And what to do with
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
The book shepherding concept is simple. The publishing world is changing, and so must you. You need an experienced shepherd and a guide to partner with you as you create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve your publishing goals. You can't do it alone without paying the price. You can spend your money creating a book that turns out to be so-so, or you can create a book that looks and feels classy, builds your brand, and is a financial success, a bestseller. It's your choice. You choose. You need the book shepherd. Publishing is riddled with obstacles, sometimes nightmares for the author. You don't need problems. You want solutions. Dr. Judith Briles will shepherd you through the maze and the chaos. At times, she's had to step in and rescue a book that has been sabotaged by a publisher or by a publishing service provider, or sometimes even the author themselves. Judith Briles is the book shepherd if you want to create a book with no regrets. Give her a call today. 303-885-2207. That's 303-885-2207, or email her at judith@briles.com. By the way, Briles is spelled B-R-I-L-E-S. Follow Judith on Twitter at My Book Shepherd and on Facebook at The Book Shepherd.
One of the most important decisions you will ever make is your choice for printing your book. You are choosing a company which will be responsible for guiding you through the process and printing your book at a level of quality and detail that embraces your personal and creative needs. You want to choose a company that when your book finally arrives, you are delighted and ready to move on to the next level, and one that is customer focused. Choose King Printing Company and Addy Books to be that company that brings you to the next level. Go to kingprinting.com or call 978-458-2345 and ask for Tom Campbell.
At Total Printing Systems, customer service is our priority. We are located in Southern Illinois. Our employees have an average of 18 years experience and know that customer relationships are important to our continued success. We have been a short-run book printer for nearly 40 years and always stay at the forefront of technology. Our niche is from 1 to 5,000 copies. Today, we offer digital, black and white, and 4-color high-speed inkjet printing, a cost-effective way to introduce color into your short-run titles. We, of course, offer traditional offset printing as well. Bindery is done in-house, from adhesive case binding to PUR perfect binding to mechanical binding of all types, including side sewing. We provide warehousing, kitting, distribution, inventory management, a new print-on-demand facility, streaming browser-based ebooks, and bookstore. Call us at 1-800-465-5200 for a quote on your next book project. You can also visit our website at www.tps1.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Alrighty, so in our last segment, I wanted Patti to get into a few things. I mean, we did talk about what do you do with negative reviews. They're going to happen. I want you all know that. But usually you can find a gem in that. But that also, where do we post them? And one of the things I shared with her off the air, that my book, How to Avoid 101 Book Publishing Blunders, Bloopers, and Boo-Boos, just picked up its 7th National Book Award. We are now going to create a press release and push it out to the local papers here. Local author wins 7 National Book Awards. That will be the headline. And then going a standard press release. But should you do a press release when you get really maybe a great book review? Patti, what do you think?
I think, I don't think most media is going to pick up and do a story just that you got a good review, that kind of thing. But what is good about a press release is, you have your press release. It's going to say, here's your book, here's what it's about, here's your author bio. And then at the top, if you have a really great line from a review, if you put that line at the top of the press release with the place where you received the review, that's going to really attract any kind of media to read the rest of your press release and give it more credence. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. So,
a lot of times when I was book editor, I would get press releases that would have several excerpts at the top. And, if you see this is a scintillating portrait of da-da-da, or better than whatever. I'm not coming up with very good ones. But, it's just a real eye catcher, and then you're interested before you even start reading the press release. So that's the way I would use that. I guess I probably wouldn't put out a press release saying this got a good review. I would just use the reviews on the press release in that way. Or if you have, 5 great reviews, you can attach a piece of paper at the back of the press release that lists all of the excerpts from each one. The more you have, the more credibility you have.
Oh, I love that idea. That's a great idea. So you do snippets.
Just staple it to the back of your press release. It'll say, this is, what are people saying about this title, and then you have these great lines that are just give your book more and more credibility.
Yeah, people are talking. People are talking. And also if they're going to pick it up, that they're looking for stuff that's going to make it easy for them, and the more they can copy and paste over and piece it together, it's a happy dance.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right. Cut and paste.
All right. So Patti, what's your website?
So our website is www.blueinkreview.com. And one thing I wanted to say, if you don't mind, is on our landing page, we have a whole list of where the reviews go out into the world, if you don't opt out. We have a lot of places that are running our reviews so that you get even broader exposure. And one of the things I just wanted to note among the places where we go is a publication called Booklist, and these are so what we do is maybe I'll just quickly explain where everything goes. So if you get a review from us, all reviews go to Ingram Book Company, which is a wholesale book distributor. They have a database that's used by more than 70,000 librarians and booksellers. So your review would be posted to Ingram. There's a website called iDream Books. It's kind of like the Rotten Tomatoes for movies, and it aggregates book reviews. So they use our book reviews on that site. We are also in a children's book database. And then, like you had mentioned, all of our reviews are eligible to be in the editorial sections, Barnes & Noble and Amazon. And we can post the excerpt for the author on Barnes & Noble. We're not really allowed to on Amazon because only the book publisher can put those up themselves, but we can advise on how to do that. But anyway, so those are all book reviews. So then the select titles, books that we really they've gotten super positive reviews. They also go out in other ways, and one of the places that we're especially proud of is Booklist that I had started to mention. Booklist is 150 years old. It's highly respected by librarians. It's a review magazine, so librarians use it to choose what kind of books they're going to order for their library. About 60,000 librarians read Booklist. So we have a column in Booklist that runs once a month, and we usually highlight 10 titles that we really love for that month, and they run our book reviews. So, they're a little bit truncated. We have a 2-page spread every month in Booklist. We have also a website called No Shelf Required that runs one of our recommended titles every week, and that's a popular website that librarians are interested in. We also put out all kinds of emails, some emails that go to readers, some emails that go to agents and editors if you're interested in looking for a traditional publishing deal. So recommended titles go out in a lot of different ways. And also we have a list on Goodreads of our best titles. We also put out recommended titles on Twitter and Facebook and Pinterest. So, our goal is really to help people who have great books get the word out. And as anyone who's in self-publishing knows, that's really tough. So I think we've made pretty good strides. And we just had an author email us that said that he had sold 120 books to libraries based solely on his book being in the Booklist column. So, which
I love. Yeah, and I'm actually, as we talk, or as we're talking right now, I am looking at your website. And I think that one of the things where you talk about your distribution, where it goes to Ingram Book Company, it goes to the Children's Literature Comprehensive Database, it goes to iDream Books, and the Barnes & Noble page, the book list, the multiple library systems, But here's also an interesting thing. They connect with other publishing professionals. I mean, these reviews are going out to representatives of major publishing houses. And here's one, many authors still have the dream of being picked up by a traditional publisher, even after they publish on their own. This is the way to get your foot in the door on that. So I'm going to encourage everyone to go to blueinkreview.com, sign up for their blog, get familiar with it. I'm just going to say that bluntly.
And
Right.
we do, we have a newsletter. We do lots of really good marketing tips. We have blogs about, common mistakes that people make in terms of writing their books. We try really hard to make our blogs, super good and relevant and not just a lot of fluff. So if people want to go and just sign up for the newsletter, it's free and it comes once a month.
Yeah, well, I'm going to recommend that. All right. So, and the current blog is that there is 8 reasons why you should do a book review. I would encourage everyone to read it. I love the one they did a little bit ago. Why you want to attend professional conferences. I know Patti Moosberger and I had a long talk about the value of brick events versus click events.
Right.
I'm a strong proponent of the face-to-face, to getting away, building the relationships versus everything, you do behind the screen. I think it's a mistake to solely, exclusively go that route. So.
Well, we attend Author U Extravaganza every year, and, you can tell people are just really energized by being there. They get ideas, they get help, they can talk to each other. It's always, you can just see that it's really, really useful.
Yeah, I always come away. I came away with a lot of really good tips this year. And I should tell everyone the extravaganza will be August 24th and 25th next year. We're going to drop it down to 2 days. We're going to do a Friday and Saturday. We'll have a special feature on Thursday for people who will come in early. It will be a paid event, but the end of August, it'll be hot authoring days in there. All right, Patti, we have about 30 seconds to go. Any last minute tip? Give your contact information again.
Anybody who has any questions, just email us at info@blueinkreview.com, and info goes to myself and my partner, so don't worry that you're just getting into some, mailbox that nobody's going to see. That's exactly where you want to be, and we're happy to answer any questions that you might have. And we can arrange a phone call as well if that would be more appropriate.
Oh, great. All right. Thank you so much, Patti Thorn, Managing Partner at Blue Ink Review. Get them. And again, as I said, that Blue Ink is on my vetted select list for you to go to. It's worth the investment for the feedback and also for marketing efforts. It's off.
Thanks, Judith.
Thank you for being a part of Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. Each